Hey guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Flora if you're new here, and in this video I'm going to show you how I do knotless box braids on my toddler's hair. This is hair that has been blow dried and trimmed, and we're going to be using Cantu cream for moisturizing, shine and jam for cleaning the parts, and the growth oil is for oiling the scalp. And I don't also show you my shea butter mix, but I always use that to seal in the moisture. And when I start, I put the hair in sections because it makes it easier for me to braid. So what I'm doing is parting the hair from ear to ear and then dividing it in the middle into two parts like you see here, and then the back section will be divided into two again from one side to the other around the ear, just around where the ear is. And when I part, I use shine and jam just to help me part a little bit cleaner, because I mean parting is not really my strong suit. I struggle with it a little bit, and the girls are always also very restless, making it even harder. So once I part the hair in sections, I go in with the Cantu cream to moisturize, work it into the hair. And this is a dilemma that I faced when I was doing this hairstyle. I just blow dry the hair because I wanted to be able to, tuck in the hair very well in the extensions, and it's harder to do that with hair that it's still in its really, natural state. And so when I finished, and if you've watched my previous videos, you will know that when I'm braiding their hair, I always begin the moisturizing process by spritzing aloe juice on the hair. But I knew that if I sprayed aloe juice on this hair, it would just revert, it would just shrink back, and I didn't want that. So I skipped the aloe juice for this style, and I just went in directly with the moisturizing cream and the shea butter for moisturizing the hair, and that's all I did. So in making my sections, what I do is I apply some shine and jam along the roots of the hair, as you see me doing there. Try to avoid applying on the scalp directly because it might cause itchiness. So the reason why you do this is so that when you're parting the hair, some of those errant strands that like to get in the way and make the part look not so clean, they will stick to the jam and get out of the way. So that's the whole idea. And then you see, before I start braiding each line, I'll do a line across from one end to the other, and then I'll make my boxes. I'll part the hair in my boxes so that I can see already how I'm going to braid that line. And when I'm doing the lines, when I'm doing the boxes, you make sure that the boxes are not falling directly on top of one another. Like they should be kind of interspaced to give the illusion of fullness, especially when you're not going to make many braids. Like I didn't plan to do many braids, just wanted to do a few. And it's something that when you're braiding kids' hair, you don't want them to carry a whole basket on their head, just a few braids so that it's not too heavy for them. Even though at the end I realized that the parts were even too big, I tried to reduce them a little bit. But the whole idea is that you make them to kind of fall in between, so the parts are not falling directly on top of one another, and that way the hairstyle is going to look fuller. Okay, so as you can see, I think there's a word for how you do it. There's a word. I just can't seem to remember it at this time, but just remember when you're doing the braids, box braids, just try not to stack them directly. Try not to stack the parts directly on top of each other. Make sure that they're kind of interspaced. I don't even know how to explain it, but I think you get the meaning. You get the drift, right? Anyway, this is not really like a knotless braids tutorial. First of all, my angle was not the best. I don't know, guys, I'm so sorry for that, but I'm still gonna try to slow down here a little bit to show you my method. I think I go in and add extensions like 6 or 7 different times, but I always start by really braiding down the hair by itself, like maybe 4 or 5 times before I start adding the hair, because the idea is to make it look like it's it's their hair, right? So I'm not looking to add so much extensions. So I want it to look as natural as possible. And so then I add the hair, the extension, and then braid down, use some of that shine and jam to apply on it as I'm going down so that the natural hair is not sticking out. And another thing is that you would have noticed that my daughter's hair is not very it's not black, it's kind of a dark brown color. So it's a little bit challenging sometimes when you want to add extensions to their hair, because you need to find a color that will not make their hair like stick out and look odd. But I mean, this hair was blacker than I thought, though it's color number 2, and it didn't really match their hair color. But I mean, we just had to work with it because that's all we had. And yeah, so I just go, I finish each line and I go to the next, do the line from one end to the other, part it in sections to see exactly how the braids will be. Don't stack them on top of one another, and then braid. That was it, guys. I apologize for the angle, and the sun was really giving us a hard time when we were recording. We had to keep moving just to avoid it really getting in the way. So sometimes you might see that we're kind of on the edge of the screen. I really apologize for that, guys, but I hope you can still see what I am doing. The number of times we had to switch positions just to get away from the sun is insane, guys. Yeah, so I just wanted to come in at this point to show you that middle braid that I did there at the center. And the reason why I do that braid at the center is to make sure that the line in the middle is not going on forever. So if you're going to use this method to do your braids like this sectioning, make sure that you accommodate that middle braid there, right there at the center, so that your middle part doesn't look like it's going on forever. You know what I mean? Okay, so at this point she fell asleep and we couldn't continue recording. The sun was first of all in our business. So I probably finished her hair later on, but we didn't record it. But I plan to make up for it with her sister, who is right here now, Zola. So as you can see, I did smaller parts at the back for her. I made up for my miscalculation with Zena, but I mean, it wasn't so bad, to be honest. I just thought, smaller parts would look better with this style. So when you get to the front, it's pretty much the same concept. You do a line, you do a section. I mean, when you're braiding, you part the hair from end to end. Do one line across, and then you break it into smaller sections just to see how it's gonna go. You braid it down, and then you take the next line, and you keep doing that till you get to that middle part. That's pretty much it. I like this method of doing your sections of parting because you can really see your progress as you're going, and you see exactly the kind of parts that you need to do. I like to just have that that bird's eye view from the very beginning, because sometimes if you're just parting the hair in small sections and going up, you might get to the end and you don't really have, I mean, your finishing is not the best because maybe you left too little hair for one last braid. Oh, you know how that goes. There are other different ways of parting hair for braids, but this one really, it works best for me. Yeah. And I'm also just realizing that I didn't share with you guys the name of the extensions that I used. I'm gonna put a picture right here, and I'll put also the name in the description box of this braid. It's called the Easy Braid Professional for kids, I believe. And these were really good extensions, to be honest, because they come pre-stretched and they're very short. I mean, they're not too long, which is ideal for kids, right? My only problem with these extensions is that they feel kind of stiff when you're braiding the hair. It's like, I don't really like how it feels. I've used expression for kids before, or just regular expression, and I like the way it felt better. It's more malleable, it's softer, kinda. But I will still go in for this one because if you use this, you don't have to pre-stretch. You don't need to. You don't have to stretch the hair, like feather the ends of the extensions by yourself, which is something that I don't like to do. And yeah, and it's really just it's a good length for kids. So I would still buy it. As a matter of fact, I actually bought like 15 packs of this hair, and I only used like 3 for both of them. That's how much little hair I use, guys. Yeah, remember when you're doing kids' hair, you don't want them to carry a whole basket on their head. You want to keep it really light, the use of extensions. You don't want it to weigh them down, weigh it down on their scalp and all that. So when I finished, I just braided the hair in 3 big sections, and I'm gonna dip it into water just to produce some curls there. These braids, we did them because we had a wedding where the girls were gonna be flower girls, and this was the style for the flower girls. You had to do curls at the end of the braids like this. I also put some rollers at the end of the braids just to make another kind of curl there at the end. Yeah, this is the step where you gotta be very careful, when you're handling hot water around kids. They might move suddenly and stuff. You just want to make sure you're careful so that you don't get anyone burned. When I'm done, when I was finished, I just applied some mousse. I'm not really sure why people do this, but I see professional braiders do it all the time. Alright, so that's our final product, guys. You can't really tell that another person's braids were, less full, can you? Because the front was like really smaller sections. And here they are at the traditional wedding. The girls were loving their hair, and they looked amazing at the wedding with their beautiful braids. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new here for more content like this. And see you next time. Bye.